Welcome to Blue Talks.
Well, it's fantastic, and I appreciate the applause. Now it's time to get to work. And I want to thank everybody because we are at Blue Talks in Columbia University, and my talk today is about the journey to get here. But before I engage you in that talk, I want to begin with a story. This story is about a woman. I've listened to her story in a podcast. And her story reflects the very journey that I took to get here. So let's talk about her story. She went on a retreat, a week-long retreat, one of those retreats where you expect to grow emotionally, spiritually, and in every possible way, just become something fantastic, something transformational. And as part of that retreat, throughout the week, she had to walk over 10 feet of hot, burning coals. Barefoot, mind you, 10 feet of hot, burning coals. And throughout the week, she did just that. She walked over 10 feet of hot, burning coals. Now, I don't know if I could have ever done that, and I'm not ever going to sign up for a retreat that does that in particularly. But at the last day, it was the responsibility, or more, the expectation, or even better, the triumphant finish of walking over 40 feet of hot, burning coals. Barefoot. So when it was her turn, she stepped up to the start line. And she couldn't do it. Now in the podcast, she never said why she couldn't do it, whether it was fear or whatever. It doesn't really matter. She couldn't do it. Until one of the other participants came up beside her and said, "Didn't you walk 10 feet of hot burning coals throughout the week?" And she said, "Yes." "Then you can do this." As soon as he said, "You can do this," it clicked. In her head, she knew that she can do this. And she did it. She walked over 40 foot of hot burning coals barefoot. That moment, when she finished, forever changed her life. And that's the transformation that we all want. So now it's my story. My story begins a long, long time ago. So I was in college, and in North Carolina, the traditional college is 16 weeks long. That's a traditional semester. Also, it is the requirement of every graduate to take a public speaking class. Well, if you knew me back in my 20s, that was not my thing. I was not going to speak in public. It's not about the wood underneath my feet. It's about all the eyes looking at you. So I did what any respectable junior, senior in college was going to do. And I was going to condense that 16 weeks into summer school, which is 6 weeks. Takes all the stress off of that 16 weeks of having to speak in front of people what feels like forever. So I took that 6 weeks and I said, I'm going to take my summer course. Now, if you've never been to North Carolina, it gets really hot. in the summertime. Now, this was a night course, and I had to dress very similarly to what I'm dressing now, except then, tie and jacket. The first 2 weeks were easy. That's because no talk was required. But she prepped us. So I had to give a talk, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 4 talks rather than God knows how many in a traditional semester. And I did what I thought was best. We get to assign ourselves what position we get to choose to give the talk. I went last. Last was the best way to do it because I didn't want to do it to begin with. Last is never the best place to put yourself when you're afraid of doing something. Go first, get it done. It's a lot easier that way. Additionally, waiting at the back of the classroom, waiting for my turn, listening to everybody talk, raises the anxiety. So when I finally get on stage, I'm already anxious. But then giving a talk, even for 5 minutes, my body reacts in a very particular way. It's going to sweat. And not only sweat, perspire. So that when I was done, just 5 minutes of talking, I had looked as if I had just jumped into a swimming pool. Jacket, tie, shoes, and all. Now, what does that have to do with today? There's something powerful about being on stage, about giving a talk and hopefully transforming at least somebody's life out there so that when they leave, they know that you talked directly to them and that your message was for them. 2 years ago, I had a transformation process. I wanted to be on stage. It started way back when I was college. There was something special about the moment. I wanted more of it. So I took every opportunity that I could once I graduated college to volunteer. I volunteered at churches to give a talk, at schools to give a talk. Now, my profession at the time was mental health, so the talk was very basic. But I eventually became a doctor, and I got more practice talking in front of others. I had to. I was in a college classroom. Was it easy at first? No. But it gets easier with practice. Then I told my mentor, I want to get on stage. I don't know how to do it. I don't have money to pay a coach because they charge a lot of money. But I wanted to get on stage. He said, okay. So he gave me 4 phrases that I'm going to share with you that hopefully will transform your life like it did mine. Number 1, yes, you can. So just like we heard earlier, with a lady standing in front of the line, can't walk over 40 feet, somebody came up to her and said, yes, you can. He told me the same thing, yes, you can. Then he said, I give you permission. Because so often, we stand at the potential, the possibility of something great, but we don't give ourselves permission to do it. Sometimes it has to come from somebody else. He said, I give you permission. Number 3, because you are able. The lady before me 40 foot. She's already walked over 10 foot throughout the week. What's 40 foot? It's up here. Because you are able. You've already been in the classroom. The stage is nothing different. And number 4, let's find a way. If you have the capability, then I will work with you and we will find a way to get you on stage. And here I am. Blue Talks, Columbia University. Thank you very much.